We welcome you back to the beach in France 2017 here in Royan. It is a glorious Tuesday afternoon, not nearly as scorching hot as the past couple of days. And we are set for a fascinating pool play showdown between Portugal and Russia. Two teams that have played great so far, two teams that are thinking about a medal. And alongside Liz Garfinkel, I am Evan Lepler. Russia, Liz, is 5-0. Portugal is 4-1. Their lone loss came by just 1 point to Australia. And these two teams are poised for a major showdown today, especially when you look at Russia's Isaiah Masik-Kelly, who's leading the division in scores, against David Pimenta of Portugal, a big threat who's leading the division in goals.
Portugal, a long history on the beach. They play beach in Portugal. They don't play much grass. It's a small, tight community. This group of players have played together for a long time. These players have played together for a long time, and they know each other well. For them, getting a medal is definitely amongst their goals. They were the top seed in their pool. They had a strong game earlier today against Poland. It should be a good match.
This Russian team most recently knocked off Australia 9-6. That's the only squad that has bested Portugal thus far. But the Portuguese team always dangerous on the beach, led by Pimenta, who has 17 goals in 5 games. Russian squad that's anchored by a couple guys who have spent much of their lives in Canada. Anatoly Vasiliev, who leads the tournament in assists, and of course Masik-Kelly, who has joined the Russian cause here in France. And we are underway. Portugal pulling to the Russians, and the black jerseys on these scorching hot days have to be a hard thing for Portugal to endure. So far, good looking offense for Russia. 3 females on the point. Anatoly Vasiliev out there and turns it over.
Inez Bringel, such an athletic player. She's a younger sister of Filipa Vargas, who is married to the captain, Pedro Vargas. Inez does so much for this team on defense and offense.
Looking deep to the end zone. So close.
It's like she reached out just a little bit too late. She actually had better position, I think, than she thought she did. And by the time she got her arm out, the disc was just out of reach.
Intended for Veronica Neves. Vasiliev and Yeremin, the males on the field. Nice catch by Alina Vinogradova. Certainly Russian Ultimate has been getting better and better, most notably with what the women's team did 2 years ago in Dubai, taking USA to Universe in the gold medal match.
And winning Europeans in 2013.
That disc was off the hands of Natalia Shabunyaeva and almost caught by her teammate Alina Vinogradova. And instead, it's a 3rd turnover on this opening point. And on the mark, it's Vasiliev. One of the best in the world at that exact thing, canceling his opponent's throws immediately. Andrew Roy, the youngster who goes to Davidson, was on the mark, and the deep shot for Yeremin too far. And this marathon opening point continues.
Portugal really wanting to be in this, really wanting to use that Roy in this tournament. He had a fabulous game against Poland, just firecracker out there. His mother is Portuguese and grew up in America, and so but he's been coming back to Portugal and playing with his team, and summers off from Davidson.
Neves takes the easy reset. A big bluff from Bringel. Skuber over Vasiliev. Neves sneaks it through. And now looking long. In pursuit, it's Lacroix. He's got it! Sebastian Lacroix scores the opening point for Portugal.
As a great put by Bringel. Inez does so much for this team. She is such a strong player. She's one of the best female players on the beach in Europe. Just fast. She lays out hard, and she's got the throws too. She's been playing for Portugal since she was about 16.
And that's an opening break after 5 turnovers on the point. Great catch here, trailing edge. Lacroix's 4th goal of the tournament. It's kind of a surprise when someone other than Pimenta or Lopez scores for this Portuguese team.
Oh, I think that's just, Pimenta so well, and he does score so often, but he's not on the field every time, and they still get scores when he's on the sideline.
They do, but I say that because the 2 of them have combined for 25 goals in their first 5 games. Basically, half of their team's output has been from just those 2 players. Vasiliev stays out there. Masik Kelly joins him. Masik Kelly marked by Petrao. Pedro Vargas chasing Vasiliev around.
Petrao, a former professional handball player in Portugal, got converted to Ultimate, has never looked back.
Handball's fun too, but Ultimate is a different cat. You can see the Portuguese experience on the beach, just the way they play defense. They read angles in the sand very well, and that's a mistake. Wide open look intended for Anton Kiesley, but not enough float from Alina Kagan. Kagan, born in Russia, moved to the U.S. at 2, a member of San Francisco Nightlock in the Bay Area of California.
San Francisco Bay Area having a number of women's teams this year, Nightlock being the 2nd team, Fury being the first that we saw a lot of the players from earlier today.
There's some members of Nightlock out there that are taking some offense to their being declared the 2nd team. That is still very much to be determined. I think traditionally
is all the reference point I have at the moment.
Traditionally, Fury have been the queens of the Bay Area in the Ultimate scene. But Nightlock is coming.
Nightlock is coming up. Fury, and it's exciting to see now so many women's teams in the Bay Area, where it really did just used to be Fury and 1 or 2 others.
Vargas gets the reset. Portugal poised and patient until now. Vargas with a dime. Just shy of the end zone. Ricardo Petrao gets the reset. Nice holster initially. Masik Kelly, great defense on the dump, and they squeak it through. Vargas, very active in Portuguese Ultimate for many, many years. And Filipa Vargas sneaks it through. Ricardo Petrao gives Portugal a 2nd consecutive break. And Team Russia's in trouble.
They are in trouble. The Portuguese are such a strong beach team that you could really see how well they know each other there. Filipa, having played with this team for so long, whips out that tricky pass right here. Here we see them looking for her. Oh, that's Nichols to Vargas. She's waiting for it, and she knows her player. She knows Petrao is open there on that break side, and she just gets it right to him.
So Petrao gaining most of the yards for Portugal on that upwind sequence. Vargas, the big gainer. And then Vargas, the short gainer. Pedro and Filipa.
For a while, the strategy against Portugal was to play 3 women, because it was really just Filipa and Inez, the 2 sisters. But we're getting more and more strong women coming up in Portugal, and they are using their women more. It's nice to see, but they do have such a strong male line. They don't normally field an open team. It's just this mixed team.
Andrew Roy with a good pull. It rolled out the back, untouched. So here comes Nikolai Yelisev up to the front of the end zone. Yelisev's parents supposedly are the biggest supporters of Russian Ultimate in the world, and they never miss a Team Russia event. Of course, they're here. Say hi if you see the Yelisevs. Mazzucchelli looking deep. And nice job coming back to the disc. Into the end zone. It was Alexander Rudametkin who came back for the huck. And then the score for Alina Vinogradova. Rudametkin and Vinogradova are a couple members of the Russian junior team. 4 Russian juniors on this squad that are really the up-and-comers in this country's ultimate scene.
That was a great rundown by Vinogradova. It went up and over her a bit, and she changed her focus and was able to just run that one down.
Well, the strength of Russia's 5-0 start has been the great throws and catches of their stars. But even more than that, Liz, it has been the resilient energy and conditioning that these players have brought to the beach. Heading into this training season, Alexander Shabunyaev, who's the president of the Russian Frisbee Federation, on the field here on D, and everyone else on this Russian beach team, they hired the fitness coach of the Russian beach soccer team. And that Russian beach soccer team has won 2 consecutive national titles, and that fitness coach basically put them through these paces that basically would occasionally end up with one of them puking. I mean, that was the type of training we're talking about, 2 times a week. And some of the veterans said the young players may lack experience, but they don't lack fitness, and that has been huge for Russia. This is Pimenta, the star for Portugal, marked by Shabunyaev. Takes the reset for Palmer. Palmer bluffs the lefty backhand and now takes it up the line. Over the top, the wind impacts the throw, but not enough to deny Pimenta his 18th goal of the week here in France.
It is such a joy to watch David Pimenta in the end zone. Normally they look for him up in the air. They try to send it high to him because he towers above his opponents, but this time he had the tall Russian on him, and so we picked up the slightly challenged, not perfect hammer, and then we got to see David lay it out full length to bring that down. Just beautiful.
Really one of the spectacular beach players in the world, David Pimenta. Extending
Just
fully.
Beautiful. Just beautiful. He's been making a little heart sign after each of his goals to his team.
Well, he can't score unless they throw it to him.
And why would you not throw to David Pimenta?
So 3-1 Portugal. They're up 2 breaks on this Russian team that's 5-0. Russia knew that its toughest games of the tournament were ahead of them after they started 4-0. Australia, Portugal, Poland still on Russia's schedule as well. Looking to Mazzucchelli, and he's there. Isaiah Masek-Kelly beats Andrew Roy up the line. And there's a quick offensive hold for the Russians. I like their hats. They match the disc perfectly.
That was a cheeky choice, I'd say.
So 3-2, 14 minutes gone.
So number 13 on the defensive line for Russia, who has been covering Pimenta, he got a ping pong injury last night. The team played a ping pong tournament up till 2 a.m. and apparently he took his toe out in the process.
That's Alexander Shabunyev, the captain. He's in charge, and that is tough news. I had heard rumors about the intense, overly competitive ping pong battles at Russian headquarters here in Royan. Pimenta, a big bluff. Good defense on the under, but taking the deep shot. Kendall Ferreira just out of the reach of Danny Bodor.
That was a nice look from Kendall, and a nice looking throw, but Bodor, I don't think it was quite ready for it.
Very close. It floated on him.
He got a finger on it. Bodor playing really well this tournament. The Dutchman lived in Portugal for a long time doing doctoral work, is now in the UK, but very closely tied to this Portuguese team.
Shebunyaev. Kitmanov cannot get there. Usually when a team has the names on the back of their jerseys, it's particularly helpful. With this Russian team with the letters that are totally foreign to my native English-speaking mind, pretty useless.
We need to get some Russian commentators for them.
Yes, we really should.
There is one here. I think she's playing, though.
Stall count was rising, and that disc just sent up there, and Pimenta on the second effort resets Bodor. Great hustle on the dump defense, Rudometkin. Back to Bodor and Pimenta. He needs one more. There it is. Sneaking in the break backhand to Kendall Ferreira. Her second goal of the tournament for Portugal. 4-2.
Such an exciting grab from Pimenta earlier. You know, when he didn't catch it the first time, I thought, wow, I don't think I've ever seen him not catch it. But then he caught it.
Yeah, he did catch it. He just didn't wait long enough.
There we see Bodor just out of reach.
And then the other end, Kitmanov laying out as well, comes up shy. Here's the play you're talking about. Pimenta coming back around his defender.
Never was there a moment that he was not going to catch that disc. It was just a long catch, just took his time.
What have been your thoughts so far, Liz, watching the entire mixed division, aside from the USA, who's actually not the defending champs? They lost in the semis 2 years ago to Canada in a controversial game. Handicap this mixed division for me from your observations from the last 3 days.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't gotten to watch that many mixed games. I've been covering lots of different games, so I don't have a strong sense of the teams in every pool. But I do find that Sweden is a real powerhouse in the mixed division. So, and Portugal, of course, in there as well.
Ambitious throw from Vasiliev, and it did not get to the intended target. Pressure defense from Inez Bringel.
It's really what she does well for them.
Portugal looking for its third break of the half. He had Petrao going deep calling for it, but he had Mazzucchelli on him, and Pedro Vargas holstered.
Any woman who has played against Inez knows the feeling of her flying towards you. She lays out for every D she can.
Have you been a victim of?
I have had the rare opportunity of catching a disc as I saw her flying at me.
Yikes.
But I think it was just because she didn't actually have a chance. She just went for it anyway.
Plenty of space for Neves. She needs help though. A little stranded. Stall count rising. Reset to Bringel. Inez Bringel, and perhaps a bump on the mark and a stoppage.
Nev is the female rookie on the team. She's only been playing with them for this year. Other players have been playing together for decades.
Bringel up the line, laying out, it's Petrao!
Ricardo Petrao, such a great athlete, so much passion. He really puts his body on the line. Having already had a professional career before he even started this sport, he is not the youngest player on the team, but he plays so hard and so physical. What a gorgeous, gorgeous effort by Petrao.
You are not going to see a bid better than this. And you're not going to see an angle better than this.
There it is. Ricardo Petrao. He's also a physical therapist. Really takes his physical training seriously. And a rock musician, bass player. He's kind of every girl's dream.
He's a Renaissance man.
Currently has won the heart of Inez Bringel, so there's your powerhouse couple of the moment in Portugal.
The Vargases would like a word with you after the game.
I'm just saying.
Be a good game of 2-on-2. Mazzucchelli takes the deep shot. Plenty of float. Perfect outside in backhand from Isaiah Mazzucchelli to Anton Kiesli.
Speaking of powerhouse couples in Portugal, the marriage that really brought Ultimate to Portugal and is bringing it all here today is Patrick van der Valk, who married a Portuguese woman and moved to Portugal and brought Ultimate with him from the Netherlands. And Beach Ultimate has never been the same since.
Patrick, the godfather of Beach Ultimate, the man who runs the Beach Ultimate Lovers Association, BULA, in charge of overseeing the World Championships of Beach Ultimate, which is now in its 5th iteration, as big as it has ever been, with 117 teams from 39 different countries. Officially this past week, the World Flying Disc Federation recognized the Afghanistan Ultimate Association, becoming the 75th country in the world to officially have a national governing body of Ultimate. And that number 75 is important because that is basically the minimum threshold for Olympic inclusion, which is not to say that Ultimate will be in the Olympics tomorrow or in 2024 or in 2028. But with more and more countries playing this sport, with more and more individuals in those countries, the national governing body's getting bigger. We're going in the right direction, folks. And it is a privilege to be a part of it all here in Royan. Portugal 4-1, Russia 5-0. Critical game in mixed division pool play. Nice catch.
That was Kendall Ferrara to Felipa Vargas. Really great women's effort there. We had Bodor with the swing across field to Kendall, who got it right straight, hard pass to Vargas. The laying out Russian in front of her.
Ferreira needed to put some sizzle on that throw to get there before the bidding defender.
Portugal really dominating this game. And it's just a really tight-knit community. They know each other so well, and they take beach so seriously. They train very hard. We've got David Pimenta is a physical trainer. Vargas takes his physio seriously. They've gotten a lot of training from Tim Morrill and his program. Very committed to the sport. Not a wide pool of ultimate players in Portugal, but the ones who play take it very seriously.
Well, it's one of the cool dynamics here at Beach Worlds. You know, different countries prioritize different styles of ultimate, and whether it's mixed or women's or open in that particular country, which becomes the priority. Of course, you'd love to have gold medals in every division, but, you know, a country like the Philippines, which lives on the beach, Portugal has a similar dynamic. You know, certainly a country like Japan does not live on the beach the way these others do.
No.
Looking long for Keesley. Just out of his reach on the shot from Masik Kelly. But you feel, Liz, the energy and emotion. You know, a lot of countries put together a team, come to Beach Worlds, they want to compete, they want to win, they want to have fun. There are other countries whose entire lives for the past 2 years have been about peaking this particular week. And I think Portugal is in that conversation.
Portugal is absolutely in that conversation. They sent a grass team into international competition for the first time last year, but it's really, this is not a team that wants to put on cleats. They want to be on the sand. This sand is where they practice at home, and the sand, they just rule the sand when they get to play on it.
When you spend some time in the sand, it can be hard to want to put cleats back on.
It's definitely the only surface I'll play on again, but that's because I have no cartilage left in a knee.
A chance for Russia here. That's a Kelly underneath to Vasiliev, quickly over the top and into the end zone for Anna Stukalina.
I really like that play. That was such a nice, quick pass. He just knew she would be there for it. That was a really quick, important point from Russia.
Anna Stukalina with her 5th goal of the tournament. She just graduated from college, from university. Another member of that Russian junior squad. There's the Felipa Vargas score from earlier.
So much authority in taking that catch down, Felipa. She just knew it was hers, to do what she needed to do with it. The laying out Russian just a little too slow.
I say we're still in the early portions of the tournament in pool play, closing in on bracket play in most divisions after tomorrow. I'd say Thursday is when the competition really heats up, elimination rounds. The Masters Championship games come on Friday, and the men's, women's, and mixed division championship games on Saturday afternoon. That disc landed in, rolled onto the tape.
Slid onto the tape, hoverboarded over the tape. Just barely out.
Palmer able to sneak that throw through. Russia tightening up its downfield defense and its dump defense. Bodor came all the way from the cutting section to the handler core. Pimenta being chased by Masik Kelly. Really one of the marquee matchups you'll see in the tournament.
of the first layouts from Nichols there I've seen from her.
Pimenta's taken off. The throw goes up. Shy of the end zone. But Pimenta takes the reset. Bodor playing just a two-man game, and there it is. But maybe a call back before the deep shot to Pimenta, who is certainly dismayed by that call long ago. We got 4 players down at one end and 6 players down at the other. It's like they're playing 2 separate games, 2 totally different conversations.
David is always so focused on getting down to the end zone, and Donnie, being heads up, knew that he needs someone down there to throw it to him. So all you needed was the runner and the handler, but everyone else knew something was up. So now it goes back.
Okay, guys, nice and easy, huh?
Oh, so something happened before David handed it off to Bodor. There was some sort of a foul away from the disc.
Pimenta will hold on to it. Great defense there from Rudometkin initially. And then finally they find Bodor for the score, and Portugal takes half 7-4. Portugal's going to receive this next pull as well. So Russia is down a pretty wide margin.
They are. That was some really great end zone cutting by Bodor. He smaller than his Russian defender. Used to getting the dump cut, but there he had to get the end zone because the dump was shut down by the Russian. There we see the point that got taken away, the more expected with David Pimenta in the end zone, but then we got the nice end zone cut from Bodor and it worked out.
This Russian team's in trouble. David Pimenta has his Portuguese squad in front 7-4, and Portugal will receive when we come back. Evan Lepler and Liz Garfinkel with you from the show pitch. There's a rumor that one of the great voices of Ultimate, Tom Stiles, will make his 2017 Beach Worlds broadcasting debut coming up shortly. And I personally cannot wait for that.
Tom Stiles is the first person to coach me to commentate a game back in 2011 while I was playing Beach Worlds. I helped out with a few games, and so Tom was my first mentor in this, along with Steven Jageri of Blockstack.
I don't know Steven, but Tom is a professor of linguistics and language and creativity.
And an all-around lovely human being who just turned 40 on Friday. Happy birthday to Tom Stiles. But right now we still have a game, and Russia is trying to stay in this.
Russia's going to need several breaks to win this thing, and they missed an opportunity for an easy one right there.
It was definitely a rushed throw, end zone throw, when at a point where you need it. And now we have a woman down. She came down hard there.
Anna Stukalina, the young lady on this Russian squad. Good to see her pop up.
19 years old, one of the junior players you were talking about. Walking off field, looks like she's going to continue on. So she's back in the line.
Roy marked by Vasiliev. Crossfield turnover.
Another turnover by Portugal.
Vasiliev has a way of making a thrower nervous with his mark. Very agile handler. He was born in Russia, started playing Ultimate, came to Canada, He first came to Beach Worlds long time ago, right after he had started playing. He's told me this story several times. He came to the World Championships thinking he would take care of business and then barely won a game, barely scored a point their first couple of games, realized they had a lot to learn. And there, the throw reaches Stukalina. She's able to make the catch. A break for Russia to make it 7-5.
It's a really important point for Russia. They couldn't let Portugal carry away here. See it. Stukalina is very happy that she did not have to lay out for that one again and come down so hard. The sand, even though it's super fine and soft, it compacts, and we're seeing a lot of players taking their time coming up from laying out, and you can tell it's a harder impact than you might think on the sand.
Well, that last goal, Vasiliev to Stukalina. 5 years ago, Anatoly Vasiliev was in Russia for the Sochi Olympics. And after the Olympics, he was spending some time in his homeland, visiting some friends. He went to a high school ultimate practice and did some work with the team. And two of the players in that high school team were Anna Stukalina and Alina Vidogradova, two of the players who he's now teammates with here at the World Championship level. Sebastian Lacroix shooting it deep, testing Mazzucchelli. And Mazzucchelli lost his hat, but the fluorescent disc was caught by João Lopez.
Oh!
And that disc, another layout grab for Portugal. Lopez doing it all, 8-5.
So many beautiful layout grabs in this game. Every one of the Portuguese men and women are just getting their bodies on the line in exciting fashion. So beautiful. Here's from Lacroix. Lopez just lays it out, makes sure he has position. That's really where you see the familiarity with the beach is just so important. Portugal's history with the beach started, like I said, when Patrick van der Valk married Sofia Perez, and they moved to Portugal and started playing on the beach there. The first Beach Worlds was in 2004 in Portugal, and 2007 in Brazil, still the Portuguese-speaking connection. So something about the speaking of Portuguese and the beach ultimate just intertwined.
Russia trailing by 3. Alina Kagan. To Isaiah Mazzucchelli. The Russians are leaning heavily on Mazzucchelli and Vasiliev, hoping they can lead them back from this 3-goal deficit. Ooh, low throw, dug out by Keesley.
Russia still in this game, getting it out. And of course, Patrick van der Valk is the president of BULA, the Beach Ultimate Lovers Association, now co-hosting this event with WFDF.
Anton Keesley works for one of the largest chocolate companies in Russia.
Oh, someone we should get to know. Came down hard on his elbow there. That must have hurt.
So this Russian team that has not lost yet, they're 5-0. They're in trouble, though. They're going to need 3 breaks to win this thing down the stretch. 8-6. Portugal leads receiving. Oh, and a drop from Pimenta. He immediately pounds his own head, and Russia again making the type of mistake that will cost them a victory if Portugal can take care of business. Pimenta so smart in how he comes back to attack those short, deep shots.
Now calling a timeout, but the Russians talking about it, concerned of whether they can take one, and they did. Pimenta calling the timeout.
Conferring about what the stall will be when they resume play. David Pimenta, you know, if you're his defender and you see the deep shot go up, you sell out. You are giving everything you got to try to avoid getting burned. And oftentimes the short throw will catch you off guard as he comes back to it. But that's just an error that you can't expect to make and compete for a gold medal.
Well, Pimenta is so mad himself about that. He hit himself, he was pounding his head, he was still thinking about it for a few minutes, but then all of a sudden he realized he had to play. He played the tight D, and then when they got the turn, he just returned to action to run down deep for that huck because he knew that he was still needed for this team, and he couldn't be hitting himself about his one little error for too long.
I don't think anyone on Portugal is going to be dissuaded from throwing to David Pimenta even after that drop.
And he dropped it too low for him to be able to recover this time like he did before.
Now certainly we're closing in on the cap, which goes on at the 45-minute mark. One more game on the show pitch after this one, the Netherlands and the Dominican Republic in the mixed division. We close in on 6 p.m. in the evening, 1800 in about 8 minutes here in Royan. Pimenta with possession. Four Portuguese players lined up in the vertical formation and right up the line. That was too easy.
That was Lacroix's turn for the layout. Each one of these guys is just really getting to the excitement of the layout score. Oh, Pedro Vargas, I'm so sorry. That was Pedro Vargas with the score. But it was still his first opportunity for the layout score in this game.
He just committed to that cut entirely.
Vargas still playing for Chevron. David Pimenta played for Chevron out of Manchester a couple seasons ago, but I think he returned to Portugal.
He's been a guy that I've been curious to see how his game would translate on the grass. Certainly he's got the tools, the size, the speed, the awareness. He doesn't have the grass experience that a lot of players that have played as much ultimate as him have possessed. And yet I'm not closing the book on seeing Pimenta in a national championship or a world championship event on the grass as an impactful player. Vasiliev from his own end zone, marked by Petrau. Loft that one long, and it was downwind. He did not release it the way he wanted to, and it just fluttered out of bounds. Roy, not enough float, looking for Petrau. So Portugal keeping the door slightly ajar. We're less than 90 seconds away from the cap. Either way, Russia's going to have to score 4 in a row or maybe 5 out of 6 to win this game. Kelly uses his size to tower over
Inez Bringel, but look at her. She was not afraid of that whatsoever. She knew she was the only one in that position, and there was no way she was going to hand that over to the Russians. Inez is such a tough competitor.
This has been the Russian offense, for better or worse, for much of the tournament.
And of course, he did such a good job of not falling on her.
Nine 7 now. Cap will go on after this next point. Kelly on the field relentlessly. Led the division with 25 scores, 13 goals, and 12 assists in the first 5 games for Team Russia. David Pimenta's on the sidelines. Portugal trying to salt this win away without the superstar on the field.
Looks like this is the point where the half will come on, so they must be saving them up for the next point.
A Russian break would make things 9-8, game to 10. If Portugal scores, it would be 10-7, game to 11.
It's a pretty important point.
Here we go. Bodor. The disc played tricks on him at the very end.
I like that look from Ferreira. She has such great throws, but Bodor just not reading it while it was running and trying to look at the same time, and the disc just bounced a bit in the wind.
Oh. If Portugal can win this game, that'll be a blooper to smile about. If Russia comes back and scores here, things would get a little tighter.
Bodor might have been feeling the pressure of being the cutter in that situation on such an important point.
He's still laughing about it.
Well, that's good. Still feeling his head.
If only I had put some sort of adhesive on the top of my hat, things might be different. The battle of the backward hats, Vasiliev and Lopez. To Kelly. Nice grab there. Shadiapova winds up to the end zone.
Huge grab by Shaliapova. That's a really big point for Russia.
Shadiapova to Vinogradova to make it 9-8, game to 10. That's 2 straight goals for the Russians. They need 2 more with everything on the line to stay perfect here in France.
Still, perhaps it was a calculated effort by Portugal to make sure they were able to have their strongest O-line for this point, if it came to that. So they have, because even if it goes awry, they have another chance at the O, but now at least they have their O-line on here. Timeout from Russia.
Yeah, they're trying to save up their top quintet. Kelly, Vasiliev not wanting to leave the field, so the only way they can get some rest is by taking their only timeout, just 1 per side. Portugal went up 2 breaks on the first 2 points of the game. And this is the closest the Russians have been. Now down by just the 1 and trying to complete the comeback. By the way, shout out to Mike Palmer, not Portugal's Mike Palmer, but our Mike Palmer, the mastermind of our technological infrastructure behind us, the pride and joy of Australia and Ultimate Television worldwide. Our Mike Palmer may not have as many goals in the tournament as Portugal's Mike Palmer, but he has had a much tougher week and deserves incredible praise.
This is definitely the most advanced setup I've seen technologically for calling games on the beach scene. So great work. A lot of effort going into this game.
I wonder if there are other Mike Palmers out there playing Ultimate, and then at some fun tournament you could get a team of Mike Palmers from around the world.
And they could perhaps have a special beverage.
It'd be a little bit like the Chad Larson experience, the mixed team from Ames, Iowa, even though Chad Larson never played for the Chad Larson experience.
All he needed was the experience. All right, so we've got Bringel, Patrao, Lacroix, Pimenta, and Nunez. Is that Felipe? Can you see? Is that Felipe or? Let's see.
We are ground level, so we are obstructed as well.
I think that's Neves, the rookie.
Patrao to Pimenta. They'll be heavily involved in these next couple of points. Of course, Portugal hopes it'll only take one. It's game point for Portugal in the black. Inez Bringel, the female superstar of this squad, takes the deep shot, and Masick Kelly eats it up. Russia with all the momentum right now. We expected this game to be great, and it fizzled for the first 3 quarters with Russia delivering a lackluster showing. All of a sudden, things are getting very, very tense here on the beaches in France. Vasiliev winds up the flick. Masick Kelly creates universe point.
Universe point. Oh, Bringel is so upset at herself. Upset at Pimenta. There's a lot of frustration on the team right now. They need to get past their emotions. There's a lot of frustration. Bringel takes this game so seriously. She's not happy that she sent a pass that did not work out to Pimenta. And Russia just had the flawless point in return. Patrao couldn't even make a bid on it. It just went above his head. And now we have universe point. Portugal again on offense.
Another assist for Vasiliev, and the 3rd goal of the game for Masick Kelly. And it's 9-all, game to 10 between Russia and Portugal in the mixed division.
And Pimenta is not playing in this point. He is not on the line. It's Vargas and Palmer, Lacroix, Kendall Ferrar, and Inez Bringel.
Portugal trusting its offensive line here. A little surprised nonetheless not to see Pimenta, the leading goal scorer in the tournament. That pull was perfect. And forced to just launch it. Masick Kelly has another D. Portugal's body language ominous. Masick Kelly rips it. Rudometkin, with the stall count rising, floats it cross field. Stukalina. Rudometkin, contested but caught, and through the collision, it's Yedamin rising up. Russia trying to complete a 3-goal comeback with 4 in a row to end it. Masick Kelly to the end zone.
Mike Palmer just couldn't quite get there in time.
Russia scores 4 in a row to knock off Portugal 10-9.
Portugal had a huge lead in this game, and they just gave it up at the end. They have to be questioning why we're all questioning why they took out Pimenta and Petrao in that moment. What went on with the coaching there to make that decision?
Wow, what a wild finish. Rudolf Metkin, the young man in his first Beach World, scores the game winner. And Russia hands Portugal its second loss of the week. Both have been by the smallest possible margin.
Portugal just looked the stronger team that entire game, but then, like you said, they had that superstar lineup in there for Russia, and we just had the one error in that point, what would have been game point.
So it's a heartbreaking loss for the Portuguese, and an encouraging finish from Team Russia as they improve to 6-0. They'll wrap up their final pool play game with Poland. Meanwhile, Portugal has a game against Ukraine, and Ukraine took Russia to universe before Russia prevailed 12-11. Plenty of highlights in this one, layouts from both teams, both genders. Inez Bringel, very, very impressive, and the plays that both Vargas and Petrao made for Portugal, not to mention David Pimenta. They'll certainly be in the post-tournament highlight reel, but Team Russia, from trailing 9-6 late, chipped away behind Isaiah Masik-Kelly and everybody else. Masik-Kelly, Anatoly Vasiliev, Alena Vinogradova, and Alexander Rudimetkin were the game winner. 10-9, Russia completes the comeback and wins it on the beach here in France. For Liz Garfinkel, Evan Lepler saying so long for now. One more game today. The dulcet tones of Tom Stiles are on the way as the Netherlands and the Dominican Republic will clash in just a few minutes. For now, we say so long from Royan.